Happy Thursday, everybody. Max here with your daily fix of gaming news. Coming up, Capcom says that getting Resident Evil Requiem running on the Switch 2 was easier than expected. The Pokémon Company responds to the Department of Homeland Security playing a little fast and loose with copyrighted material, and Metal Gear Solid Delta's online multiplayer has a release date. Let's get into it. One of the big questions about the future of the Nintendo Switch 2 is how well it'll handle games initially designed with more powerful hardware in mind, but if Capcom's experience with Resident Evil Requiem is any indication, we might be seeing more big games launching day and date on all three of the current gen consoles. Speaking to VGC, Resident Evil Requiem producer Masato Kumazawa said, quote, "We were surprised in a good way about how smooth the process was for us," adding, "It just made sense that we felt that we don't need to wait on this one or do a separate project after the main game. We can just bring the main game to this hardware immediately." He said that after the team received Switch 2 dev kits, they got to work prototyping Resident Evil Village to run natively on the new hardware, and clearly they liked how it turned out. Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, and Village both came to the Switch 1 as streaming cloud versions, but the real deal is going to be hitting Switch 2 alongside Requiem. Considering that both the previous games were released on last-gen consoles, that's less impressive, but with the 9th mainline installment being made with PS5 and Xbox Series in mind, it's pretty cool that Capcom isn't making Nintendo fans a lower priority. Meanwhile, the Switch 2 port of Borderlands 4, which was supposed to come out next week, has been delayed indefinitely. Though, considering how many issues players have had running the game everywhere else, it seems unlikely that's the fault of Nintendo's new hardware, and it's probably in Gearbox's best interest to focus on the places the game has already been released. Resident Evil Requiem hits PS5, Xbox Series, PC, and Switch 2 on February 27th of next year, which is also when Switch 2 gets Biohazard and Village as well, so if you missed out on the most recent Resident Evil games because you're primarily a Switch player, get to work. Usually, IGN doesn't cover politics unless it directly intersects with gaming or entertainment, and usually the federal government doesn't post Pokémon memes on social media, but we live in unusual times. Earlier this week, the Department of Homeland Security made a post on X with the caption, "Gotta catch 'em all," over a video montage of ice arrests. It was set to the tune of the Pokémon theme song, intercut with clips of Ash Ketchum from the anime, and it ended with a series of mugshots that were photoshopped to look like Pokémon cards. In case there was any confusion that this is not some sort of official collaboration, the Pokémon Company issued a statement distancing itself from the post, saying, quote, "We are aware of a recent video posted by the Department of Homeland Security that includes imagery and language associated with our brand. Our company was not involved in the creation or distribution of this content, and permission was not granted for the use of our intellectual property." But wait, hold up. This is the Pokémon Company and Nintendo we're talking about. Usually when somebody posts something online that even slightly infringes on their intellectual property, their lawyers are there like that. Boom. So why aren't they suing? Well, IGN spoke to Don McGowan, Pokemon's former legal chief, who gave a few good reasons, saying, quote, "First, think of how little you see the Pokémon Company's name in the press. They are insanely publicity shy and prefer to let the brand be the brand. Second," McGowan added, "many of their execs in the USA are on green cards. Even if I was still at the company, I wouldn't touch this, and I'm the most trigger-happy chief legal officer I've ever met. This will blow over in a couple of days, and they'll be happy to let it." In other words, best case scenario, it's opening a whole can of Weedles, and worst case, it's kicking a Beedrill nest, and the Pokémon Company probably has enough to worry about already with the current tariff situation as we head into the holiday season. And finally, speaking of convoluted political intrigue and games where you catch a whole lot of animals, we knew that Metal Gear Solid Delta was getting an online multiplayer mode, but now we know when we'll get to play it. The multiplayer hide-and-seek Fox Hunt will launch on October 30th across all the platforms the game's already out for. It'll feature two modes, Survival Capture, which sounds sort of like Capture the Flag, except with teams competing to grab those little Karotan frog guys, and Survival Intrude, which will be more like a battle royale with players holding their own while the battlefield gradually shrinks. Both modes will feature AT Camouflage, which is basically like an Octo-Camo ghillie suit, transforming the player into a blob of whatever terrain they're hiding on, so looks like a good time. And that's your fix for Thursday, September 25th, 2025. Before I let you go, just a reminder that over on Humble, from now until October 7th, you can grab 8 incredible games for just $14.99, including WWE 2K25, Destiny 2 Legacy Collection 2025, The Plucky Squire, and Return to Monkey Island. Every purchase supports Team Rubicon, a veteran-led humanitarian organization that unites military veterans, first responders, and civilians to deliver aid where it's needed most. And also, over on Humble right now, there's a bonus deal going on that'll get you 4 months of Humble Choice for just $49 when you use the coupon code WOW. Head over to humble.com to find out more. Now that you're caught up on the news, go check out our review of Ghost of Yotei and our review discussion hosted by yours truly over on IGN's PlayStation show Beyond. That is all from me. Have a great Thursday, everybody. I'll see you next time.